Salut YouTube, aujourd'hui on se retrouve pour The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, qui est une sorte de remaster du jeu qui est sorti en 2013. C'était chouette à l'époque, c'était rigolo en fait, c'était surprenant. Le but c'était un peu de trouver un peu toutes les fins, donc, et toutes les surprises que cachait le jeu. C'est un jeu un peu à part. Donc voilà, donc là on va découvrir la version Ultra Deluxe, donc une version très, très augmentée de ce jeu-là. Hop là. J'ai pas lancé le jeu avant parce que, comme je disais, le jeu pourrait nous cueillir dès le début avec une surprise. Alors là, après, il faudrait déjà juste qu'il se lance. Ah, c'est bon. Ah, le son est bas. En français. Avez-vous déjà joué à The Stanley Parable? Oui, mais il y a longtemps. Déplacez le curseur jusqu'à ce que l'ordinateur soit à peine visible. Voilà, comme ça. Hein. Entrée l'heure actuelle. Eh bien... Ah, super. Ah, relou. Et 8h51. Non, pas PM. Oh, purée. 8h51 AM. Ok, donc déjà ça c'est nouveau. Remarque, les paramètres d'accessibilité sont accessibles depuis le menu principal. Ok. Ah, l'écran, dans l'écran. Paramètres, langue français, taille sous-titres, je vais vous l'augmenter. Comme ça vous pourrez bien les lire parce que ça va pas mal parler et je vais pas redoubler derrière, donc je vous laisserai lire les sous-titres. Le réticule, on s'en fiche. Vidéo, on peut laisser le truc de base. Commande. Ok. En avant, en arrière. Ah. À gauche. Vraiment le menu qu'on voit derrière là. Space, sauter, interagir, interaction supplémentaire, contrôle, déplacement. Ok. On est parti? On est parti. The end is loading.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Et là, on reprend le contrôle. Ah, la porte est ouverte. Ouais, je les déplace vite. Hein. Je crois que l'option du... Attends, je sais plus où c'était. Du réticule, le petit point, ouais, ça va être très bien. Les sous-titres, opacité. Voilà, j'ai augmenté un peu l'opacité des sous-titres. sera un peu plus lisible. J'ai un petit point au milieu, mais comme ça, hop, plus facile pour moi. Ah, j'ai...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Il n'y a pas la sensibilité de la caméra. Voilà. Ah, c'est entre les deux. Ah, c'est mieux. C'est fermé. J'ai éteint l'ordinateur.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Oh, je fais ce que je veux. Qui a pété? J'éteins tous les ordinateurs. Les ventes ce mois-ci. Salut la Oro. Émote panda. Projection. On vient tout juste de commencer. Ah.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Bon, on va faire ce qu'on nous dit, hein. Toutes les portes sont fermées. Ça va bien et toi?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Ne pas modifier sans consulter le tableau blanc du manager. Ok. Sortir Chris du placard à balai, d'accord. Crever, je récupère doucement, j'ai encore fait le ménage dans l'ancien appartement aujourd'hui. Ah! T'es en congé jusqu'à quand encore? Qui a déplacé mon bureau? Des jolis slides. Oula! Please no more shot, please I'm begging, stop. Bon, continuons. Mardi, ok. Oh, ça va, encore une bonne petite semaine. Ah.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Vous avez vu, hein, du coup, il y a quand même plein de choix. Genre, j'aurais pu descendre plutôt que de monter. J'aurais pu aller à la porte de droite plutôt que à la porte de gauche. On fera ces autres choix après, effectivement. Oula! I've got the feeling money's for stealing, but not yours, of course. Say that's a lovely purse. Ok. Y'a rien à y faire ici. Moi je suis poli, je referme les portes. Mais y'a personne.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
T'as pas raté grand chose là au roue du jeu, on vient tout juste de commencer. Stanley est un employé, tout ce qu'il y a de plus normal dans une grande entreprise et un jour il se rend compte qu'il y a plus grand...
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know
Oui, je sais.
the combination
Je parle à mes viewers.
5.
De 8, 4, 5. Et donc du coup, on suit un petit peu ce que dit le narrateur là.
2, 8,
Oui.
4, 5. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the
Oula.
correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Je suis caché. Ça fait peur. C'est pas un jeu qui fait peur, hein. Normalement en tout cas.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Que le mystère.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Bon, on va continuer, hein. C'est fermé derrière moi. Lumière.
The lights rose
Oh.
on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant
427, c'est celui que je pointe normalement. Je crois que c'est ça, c'est 427. Ouais, c'est ça, c'est mon bureau. Il y en a un qui a été viré. Il y a plusieurs qui ont été virés, tiens. Regarde. 434. Pourquoi ça montre le 434 alors que... Il y a d'ailleurs. Que de mystère. Bon, ok, on continue. Pourquoi tu disais que tu récupères? T'as fait quoi hier, la roue, pour être crevé comme ça? Ascenseur.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Ah oui, d'accord, des fois c'est la même image, mais swappée. Ascenseur.
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never.
Never!
It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
The world! Je suis où?
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Ok, facility power. Oula! Console disabled. Je récupère des déménagements. Quand j'ai commencé le week-end de peinture et le déménagement, J'étais malade et j'étais épuisé ces derniers mois, du coup... Ok. Et bah du coup, voilà, tu te reposes. Tu fais le ménage tranquille aujourd'hui, et après tu te reposes. Ah. Ah, il y a des boutons un peu partout. Faut que je les fasse dans l'ordre. 1, 2... Il manque 3 et 4. Ah, c'est fermé. Ok. Il va y avoir quelques mystères à explorer. Bon, en attendant... Man control idle. Awaiting input.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power,
Ouais, je
he
comprends
knew
la
it
voix.
was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
C'est pas moi. J'ai pas touché.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
J'ai eu un succès, obtenir votre premier succès. Bon voilà, c'était The Stanley Parable. Bah, j'espère que ça vous a plu. Non, bien sûr, je plaisante. Donc ça, c'était la run normale. Tu suis ce que te dit le narrateur. Voilà. Et si maintenant, on essayait de contredire ce que dit le narrateur.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Je vais rentrer dans mon bureau! Mon bureau!
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace
Il est beau
of his
écarquiller les yeux.
co-workers.
Vous êtes où?
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference.
Est-ce que...
Nor
Attends.
did it advance the story in any way.
Ça serait pas plus agréable pour moi... La manette. Ah non. Ah, ça bouge pas la manette? Ah bon, bah voilà. Alors, on éteint les ordinateurs. Là, il n'y a personne dessus. Waiting input. Ah, ça n'était pas ça tout à l'heure. Ok, je peux juste le faire une fois. On éteint. Faut que j'appuie sur les bonnes touches précisément ou quoi? Non, je pense pas.
When Stanley
Ah,
came
vas-y,
to a
elle est à
set
droite.
of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
4B9. C'est pas cette salle. Ah, la salle de repos.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood
D'ailleurs,
here,
c'est vraiment de boire un coup.
taking it all in. Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room.
J'ai pas bougé du coup, le narrateur il râle.
So utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Je teabag. Pardon.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Ah oui, ça me ramène sur la salle de réunion. C'est quoi ça? On y va. Je compte sur vous pour me dire d'ailleurs les fins qu'on a fait, genre ouais, ce chemin tu as déjà fait et tout.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander
On le fait un peu
about
ensemble
and
ce
get
jeu-là.
even further off track.
Alors ceux qui connaissent
So
le jeu,
now,
bien
in
sûr,
order to
pas de
get back,
backseat.
he needed to go from here it's left. Oh no, it's to the right. My mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right?
Décide-toi!
What was I thinking? It's clearly. Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now let's see. We went down, right, left, down, left, right. Yep. Okay. Yes, I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Le jeu tu as déjà fini. Alors j'ai fini la version de 2013, mais bah, du coup c'est il y a longtemps. Donc vraiment je le redécouvre avec vous. En vrai je me souviens quasiment de rien. En fait je me souviens qu'il y a plusieurs fins et que c'est rigolo, quoi. Vraiment mes souvenirs s'arrêtent là. Et après oui, techniquement on l'a fini tout à l'heure. Mais on a fait une fin. Ah, on arrive ici du coup.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Mais putain.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Je peux pas éteindre le PC ce coup-ci. Il y a toujours le... Ok, c'est pas celui-là. Ah non, c'était là. Hup. Ok. Ah. Oh, quoi?
When Stanley... Wait.
J'adore ce jeu, putain.
No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game.
Alors, il y a deux portes ouvertes.
Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure.
Quoi?
Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Bon bah, on peut pas aller là. Bon, toujours de gauche à droite, donc on va faire ça. Hein. Tout le monde sait ce que tu as fait. Ils se retiennent juste de te laisser te torturer toi-même.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again?
Oh non, non.
I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Oh mais... Relou le narrateur là.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go
Ah,
to the
là je peux
meeting
éteindre.
room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ah, ce coup-ci il est éteint celui-là. Ah mais...
Okay, yep, it's
Il n'y a pas de porte ce
I
coup-ci.
might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Il a ouvert la porte du coup. Ah punaise. Ah bah bravo, super la moquette. Hein.
Aha! I knew
Quoi?
we'd missed something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait.
Quoi?
Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Quoi? Oh la vache.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story?
C'est rustique.
I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win!
Ouais.
Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off. So, good
Super.
job.
J'ai gagné.
Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win.
Exactement.
Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Oh purée. Ah.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
20e. Il était là ce téléphone avant? Moi j'éteins les ordinateurs. Hein. Ma mission dans la vie, éteindre les ordinateurs. Faut que je suive la ligne jaune? Bon, on va suivre la ligne jaune. Hein. Ah, le solitaire. Oh, le bon vieux solitaire. En 3 cartes d'ailleurs.
You see, the line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay. Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office,
Oh, il m'a perdu là.
is this office, in fact, the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct. Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that.
Excuse acceptée.
I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Wow. On dirait un jingle de dessin animé. C'est beaucoup trop épique. What? Attends, quoi? Quoi? Qu'est-ce que... Qu'est-ce que... Drogue. Drogue. Méga drogue. C'est où la suite du coup? On va partir par là. Ah merci.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell? Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Ok, c'est bon, j'ai retenu la fougère. Dieu. Tout à l'heure on est parti là, du coup maintenant on revient ici, mais quoi? Je crois que j'aimais bien avec la musique finalement. Mais qu'est-ce que...
Oh no, not again, Line. How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through...
Oh, il y a un Clippy.
Oh, I can't take this anymore.
Il y a un Clippy là-haut.
Restart.
Je sais pas si vous le voyez. Ah. Il y a une vraie horloge. Attends, du coup, c'est la vraie heure? Non, 9h22. Il me met 11h... 11h21.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story?
Ah.
Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Allez.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination.
Alors là, je tourne un peu en
Whatever
rond.
it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it. Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Je mets le TM. Trait de marque, quoi. Eh, va-t'en.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
C'est quoi, c'est toutes les fins possibles? Vous avez joué la fin troublante pendant 17 minutes. Non, je veux pas y aller.
Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all it goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this
Stanley essaie de suivre l'histoire, mais il est empêché.
Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to
Philosophie absurde et musique, j'avais pas
I don't
vu.
want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it.
Au bout d'un long moment, Stanley meurt.
Stopped?
Oula.
Does that mean did we do it? Did we break the
Allez,
cycle?
Nova.
The whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay.
C'est fermé.
I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey. But they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
Quoi? Putain, mais c'était quoi cette alarme? On aurait dit, tu sais, les trucs incendie. Oui, 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 oui.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could
Ah,
it
il a
be?
oublié.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ah. Ok, donc ça, je vais devoir le faire sur plusieurs runs. Faudra bien penser à checker les PC pour le faire. Il va y avoir un truc au bout de 5 du coup. Nouveau contenu.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Mhm.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Eh ben allons-y.
Okay, so far it's an elephant. Nothing special yet.
Tellement méta,
but I'm
quoi.
sure it's
Ça
just
fait une
the
porte
beginning
nouveau
of a
contenu.
mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we
Nova.
be moving somewhere or oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Nova, si t'es relou, je vais fermer la porte.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if, oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Oh, purée.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Fun. Vous êtes frustré? Poc. Ah, j'ai plus le droit de sauter. Super.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Oh, super. Bon bah, c'était génial.
Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more. Very good.
Purée, quel râleur.
I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Thank you for enjoying the new content.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make
Ah là là.
$1 and don't
Ces
get
développeurs de jeux
started on the
vidéo.
level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated.
Je suis obligé de vérifier du coup. Cliquez 5 fois sur la porte 430. Quittez le jeu et relancez-le. Non, sérieusement, on a supprimé l'option, vous pouvez pas sauter. Succès test à ignorer. Test achievement, description, replace vis. Putain, je rêve.
Infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally
Ça a
accountable.
changé de nom.
It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Mais allez, on recommence. Quoi? Ça recommence pas au même endroit.
Psst. Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
Alors on y va. No.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Mais que quoi?
I call it the Memory Zone.
Coucou Tita.
It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak
Tita, va-t'en si tu veux pas te faire spoiler. Bisous, bon train.
experiences of my life whenever I want.
Je sais qu'elle veut le faire, Tita.
Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Ouais, c'est fermé maintenant. Zut, ça a tant changé que ça. Bah là on est sur... Ça c'est nouveau par exemple. On m'a visé tout le monde.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the memory zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity.
Mais putain.
Back then, it all meant something.
Ah, le montant.
Waste.
Le vieux Stanley Parable du coup. Don't forget. L'écran de fin du jeu du coup je crois. Time, Indoor Monthly, Shapes, Graph, National Geographic, Cargo. Stanley Parable. Collector Edition. Oh, une belle boîte de jeux PC comme on n'en fait plus. C'est fou, hein, c'était énorme les boîtes de jeux PC il y a quoi, il y a 15 ans maintenant. Personnellement, moi je les ai pas connus, mais j'ai toujours vu chez d'autres et les boîtes de Worms, tout ça. Le trophée pour l'IGF. L'Independent Game Festival. Je pense qu'aujourd'hui encore, il faut vérifier si ça existe encore aujourd'hui, mais aujourd'hui encore, c'est la... En tant qu'AD, c'est l'une des plus grosses récompenses que tu peux avoir. Le BAFTA. Awarded to Bruce Straley, the Last of Us in the category story. Non, Stanley Parable. C'est le BAFTA, ça, normalement. The British Academy of Film of Television Art. C'est ça, le BAFTA. Mon premier baiser, ma première voiture. La sortie de The Stanley Parable en 2013. Oh, le script. Le script du jeu. 20h13. Toujours pas. Hein. Man Control Facility. C'est quoi? Ah, Mozilla. Buy on Steam or download the demo for free. Ok, c'était un site. Souris parce que ça arrive. La BO du jeu. $1. Peut-être le premier dollar gagné par le jeu. La démo du jeu, ok. C'est rigolo. Faut que je vous montre ça. Dans les succès du jeu original, effectivement, il y en a un. Ne pas lancer le jeu en 5 ans. En 2018, du coup, tout le monde l'a eu. Enfin, les gens qui ont pas sorti depuis. Je sais pas de quand... Moi, ça date la dernière fois que j'y ai touché. 2019. Ah, je l'ai fait aussi tard que ça? Ah, je pensais l'avoir fait plus tôt. Septembre 2019. Ah, techniquement, je pourrais l'avoir du coup. Ça y est, ça fait 5 ans. Ça fait 5 ans. Ouais, nominé. Nouvelle sortie de jeux vidéo aujourd'hui. Bah. Ok, continuons. En mémoire du petit Stanley. Moi, est-ce que c'était... D'accord, il y a la musique. Est-ce que c'est un animal de compagnie du développeur? Ça chante en français? Ok.
Mais ici, c'est aussi où je me souviens de la sortie de The Stanley Parable.
Ils sont craqués.
C'était un très bon jeu vidéo. Du moins après les journaux, mon amour.
Tu sens que c'est quand même pas une française qui chante.
Rien de plus nostalgique que les prix du public qui reçut à l'IGF, mon amour. Ici, dans la memory zone, se rassemblent les deux fantômes de Stanley Parable.
Compte un peu le sang.
Nous sommes dans la memory zone, et me voilà pris de coup. Ne me force pas à choisir mon amour. J'aimais la version d'hier, la nouvelle fera-t-elle l'affaire? Plus j'y pense, plus je te perds. Voilà pourquoi maintenant j'erre dans la memory zone.
Eh bah putain. Mais il avait fait une chanson pour toutes les pour tous les doublages du jeu, enfin pour toutes les localisations du jeu où on a eu de la chance, on joue la version française et parce que j'avais quand même l'impression que la chanteuse avait un accent et qu'elle chantait du français mais qu'elle parlait pas forcément français.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable.
Ah, toutes les
Like this
critiques.
stunning triumph of games journalism. 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com.
Putain.
Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3.
Mais pourquoi?
All of them. And now, it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Tous les prix qu'il y a eu du jeu. Alors... pourquoi il y a du Minecraft?
Pas si facile d'être un rebelle.
Ah!
Jack 2.
Purée! Depuis combien de temps la scène elle a changé? Ça c'est le chat? Oh le chat qui avait changé de scène. Eh, tu vas finir dehors toi. Hein. Donc je disais regardez, il y a Minecraft. Pourquoi? Let's begin again. You're playing the Stanley Parable. Et là il y a Portal. Parce que bah, tout va bien. Memory Zone maintenance. Ok. Bah, c'est pas par là du coup. Person of the Year. C'est qui la madame? Ah c'est la... C'est une image de son outil de dev pour faire le jeu je suppose. C'est un peu dégueulasse, alors du coup on voit pas grand chose. Les différents boutons. Salut Mystère. Le jeu qui tourne sous Mac, incroyable. La version collector, avec une cravate. Your number is 29. Mais merci beaucoup Mystère. Merci pour ton sub qui claque son prime là. Merci beaucoup. Est-ce que tu avais déjà joué à The Stanley Parable, le premier du nom?
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Mais purée. Là, les textures qu'il a utilisées pour le jeu, certainement. Et là, on a quoi? Le source SDK, le moteur utilisé pour le jeu. Les gens jouent aux jeux vidéo parce qu'ils parce que ce qu'ils peuvent faire à l'intérieur d'eux. Et même si ton jeu est très bien, ils doivent savoir qu'ils ne peuvent pas tout faire. Y a un truc qui s'est ouvert. Ah, il y a une porte là-bas. Mais les cartons. Comment j'y vais? Je peux pas sauter. Ah bah non, mais...
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again.
Du coup, pour te mettre dans le contexte, Mystère, donc là on fait le contenu, en quelque sorte le nouveau contenu qui a été ajouté avec cette version Ultra Deluxe, parce que le jeu de base date de 2013. Et là il a fait un espèce de musée à la gloire du jeu original en 2013, avec genre des extraits d'articles de review en fait du jeu en 2013. C'est très méta, hein, c'est très méta comme jeu. C'est ouvert en dessous, j'en doutais.
Hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no. God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well.
Ouais. Ah non, les notes, les reviews Steam vont être beaucoup moins chaleureuses, je pense. La base du jeu, c'est t'es un employé dans un... Bon, en gros, en fait, tu entends le narrateur, là, et au début, t'es un employé dans un bureau, il te dit « Ah, tous tes collègues ont disparu, tu vas d'un point à un point B, t'as une micro-histoire et tout. » Et en fait, tout le principe de The Stanley Parable, c'est t'as souvent des choix, genre la porte de gauche, la porte de droite. Si au début tu suis ce que dit le narrateur, t'auras une fin. Ensuite tu fais un autre choix, un embranchement, t'auras une autre fin, etc. etc. C'est vraiment un jeu humoristique où tu sais découvrir toutes les fins. Ah non, les reviews Steam, j'ai pas envie d'aller les voir. Not recommended.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny?
Unfunny?
I'm trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Il est parfait. Unfunny. Oh putain, puis il y en a plein. Oh, les reviews Steam. Est-ce qu'il a demandé à la personne qui a fait cette review si elle acceptait d'être dans la version Ultra Deluxe? Bon, attendez. Je vais virer le chat parce qu'elle est relou. Elle est relou. Un chat volant. Voilà. Ah, les positifs, on les voit pas, c'est dommage.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. I always, well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh, dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
On dirait moi qui essaie de vendre le jeu à Tita à l'époque. Bon, elle avait bien aimé, hein. Voilà, qu'est-ce que ça dit là encore?
You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with long-winded explanations of what's happening.
Tellement.
There was a skip button.
Putain.
A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah, 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245, that the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000
Qu'est-ce qu'il raconte?
Until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime.
Moi je suis poli, hein, je laisse parler. Hein.
It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all.
Je crois qu'il boucle, ça y est.
Now you see, blah 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 blah. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Well, there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times. And there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button. And if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here. And more than anything else, I don't know how to stop you from pressing the button again. I can't control anything in this room, Stanley. I can't touch it. And I have to believe, I have to know that sooner or later, no matter how much I plead with you, you're going to press the button again. Why would you? I've been thinking and thinking, and I don't know what I can do to convince you otherwise. Oh my God.
Ouais, il fait tout le jeu. Hein.
I just couldn't ignore the negative feedback. Why was it so important for me to fix the problem? Why did Cookie Nine's opinion matter so much to me? I've never even met Cookie Nine. I have no idea who they are. What would it ever really matter? But here I am. I'm fixating on every tiny negative thing that anyone ever says about me. The merest mention of one of my imperfections, and I become as impetulant as a child. Wild and impulsive. I can't help myself. I can't stop myself from lashing out with a vengeful fury to alter and to change and to break anything unbroken, if only it pleases this one person who made a single negative comment. What does such an impulse serve? For whose benefit is this?
Qu'est-ce qu'il lui a écrit comme texte?
Here I am now, stuck in a room, waiting for you to press this button, and to become frozen in time, knowing that you're going to do it, and that I'm going to be stuck all alone, and that I had the power to prevent it all from happening, if only I'd held my tongue. It's all out of my control now. Just you. Just your decision as to exactly when you're going to make me suffer, to leave me all alone. Surely you will. I don't doubt it. Surely you'll press that button again, leaving me here. And surely you'll put your own desire to see what's next ahead of my need for company, for companionship. Surely you'll not be moved by my howls of fitful anxiety, that you sit with me and just stay here. Oh, no, 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 I know you too well. You'll be leaving me oh my God. And it's all because of those reviews that I couldn't get out of my head.
Il s'arrête jamais.
I couldn't ignore the negative feedback. Why was it so important for me to fix the problem? Why did Cookie Nine's opinion matter so much to me? I've never even met Cookie Nine. I have no idea who they are.
Sondage.
Does it ever really matter? But here I am. I'm fixating on every tiny negative thing that anyone ever says about me. The merest mention of one of my imperfections, and I become as impetulant as a child, wild and impulsive. I can't help myself. I can't stop myself from lashing out with a vengeful fury to alter and to change and to break anything unbroken.
C'est le tic-tac de l'horloge. Vous avez mis un sondage, est-ce qu'on continue ou est-ce qu'on arrête ou
What does such an impulse serve? For whose benefit is this?
Oh putain, j'ai laissé 2 minutes.
I am now stuck in a room, waiting for you to press this button, and to become frozen in time, knowing that you're going to do it, and that I'm going to be stuck all alone, and that I had the power to prevent it all from happening, if only I'd helped.
Oh merde, moi j'ai cliqué.
Stanley, you're back. You're back.
Oh putain, et merde.
Someone to talk to again.
Bon bah, désolé. J'ai voulu revenir sur le jeu et vu que j'avais le curseur au milieu.
Just sitting here, not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right?
Je vais être dans le noir après.
Talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley.
La démocratie, elle est morte.
None of that matters anymore. I'll give it all up. I'll give up
every
branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know that someone else is taking it in. These words that I'm saying, I need to know you can hear.
Ah!
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us, about everything we've been through. I've had so much time, I stopped keeping track after a year.
Au bout d'une année.
In one place and not move for one entire year. Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel.
Jamais il va se taire. Oh. Oh le silence. Putain, j'avais pas vu la plante. Il s'est passé combien de temps? Elle est cannée, la plante? Il n'y a plus de piles dans l'horloge. Il est mouru, monsieur le narrateur? Oula. C'est quoi qui fait bip là?
But they didn't understand the game was never meant
Mais
to be
putain, mais...
fun. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they
Mais sur le tel, ça marche bien en podcast, ils vont y parler. C'est de ouf.
It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs down review
Oh,
and make all of their...
Faut passer à autre chose, monsieur, hein. Il s'est parmi... Il s'est parmi d'une critique négative, quoi. En vrai, c'est très méta, mais ça peut être tellement ça, des fois, la vie d'un dev. Tu t'es fait chier à mettre de l'amour dans un jeu, et paf, tu vas lire les reviews négatives, et t'es là, mais... T'as le droit de pas avoir aimé, mais t'es pas obligé de descendre le jeu, ou de... Sur des points de détail, des fois...
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end.
C'est ce qui est écrit sur les écrans de chargement.
Is never the end, 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 is never the end.
Unfunny.
Is never the end, is never.
Oh punaise. Cette section-là est très longue. Ah, bah que quoi? Ah. Je sais pas depuis combien de temps on est là, mais... Commence à fuir. Wow! Ok, donc on a eu une petite inondation. Je peux faire une blague sur le fait que le jeu se passe peut-être au sud de l'Espagne, ou c'est un peu tôt? Bon, très bien. Oh! La lumière! Merci Coca! Merci. Yo-yo, c'est le rat qui fait du rap. Quoi? Le rat qui fait du rap? Quoi? Salut Coca, mais pourquoi? Bonjour à toutes et tous. La lumière! Lumière. Enfin, y a toujours pas de porte, hein, donc... La nature qui reprend ses droits. Par contre, le narrateur, il est passé où? Il est cané? Il est mouru, le narrateur? Ouais, tellement peu de choses, n'empêche. On est dans les blagues trop early ce matin. Ah. Pas de panique à bord, le fun et la vitesse à bord. Pourquoi les plantes elles ont disparu? Ah bah j'ai pas la ref, ouais Coca. J'ai jamais vu Rats. Comment ça t'as pas la ref? Ça me... Ça, je sais pas du tout ref. Rats. Alors quand je disais que le jeu normalement est pas un jeu horrifique, là c'est un peu flippant. Oula! Oula! Qu'est-ce qui s'est passé? Ok. Ah ouais, bon, je jetterai un œil après. Il s'est passé quoi? Il s'est passé genre des millions d'années et C'est fini? C'est fini le bouton skip? Bon, bah on va sortir. Hein. Je savais pas que c'était bien non plus. Ok. Ah. The end is never the end is never the end. Ah! Quelqu'un a relancé le jeu.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Et on recommence. New content. Avec 2 prises. Eh ben allons-y hein.
Oh good, you noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
C'était intéressant cette séquence. Séquence skip. On va descendre du coup ce coup-ci, c'est ça?
You see, Stanley,
Ah,
I've
monte.
been reflecting on the Stanley parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it
Oula.
one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the Stanley Parable 2.
Non. Waouh. 2.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
The end is never the end again. 4-2-7.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Le potentiel de franchise à long terme. Du coup, merci beaucoup Coca pour ton sub. Et coucou à toi. Alors, dans plein de langues. Dva, je sais pas comment on prononce. Tu, tui, deux. Due, doa, zvei. Du, dos, dvo. Photo offpainting.tgr. Salut la Lens Banner, comment ça va? J'aime bien, on voit bien les post-it, mais on voit pas du tout la vie derrière. Petit glouglou. C'est joli les bureaux. Ils sont de retour, les deux portes. New content is out, new content part 2 is in. Buried section of the chart, cool red section of the chart, tellement. More TSP, better TSP, win-win, c'est quoi TSP? The color red. Ah, la fougère! Ah, TSP, the Stanley Parable. Les logos pour Stanley Parable 2. Alors, ça, 100% The Last of Us, hein. C'est la typo de The Last of Us, le 2. Ça, je sais pas si ça me dit quelque chose. Thanks for attending my meeting. Il est pas mal celui-là, avec les barres pour faire le 2. Ah oui, oui, carrément, bah ouais. Oui, c'est ça. Resident Evil Village, avec Village qui fait le VIII, qui fait le 8. Bien vu, Coca. D'avoir une rêve sur les deux autres là, mais j'ai pas. Hein. Oh, 2 fois plus de Stanley.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Qui a pris le marqueur rouge? Moi, écrit en rouge. Les sequels sont bien. Portal 2, Half-Life 2, Batman Arkham 2, City, Divinity Original Sin 2, Doom 2, Aladdin 2 et Dark Souls 2. Je sais... Non, c'est peut-être pour le dessin animé parce que je crois pas qu'il y ait eu de jeux vidéo, le retour d'Ajafar. Ah, il pourrait en fait. Hein. Et Dark Souls 2. The Prequel of the Stanley Parable. The Prequel. Ah, ce serait une prequel. 2. Tellement une réflexion méta sur le développement de jeux vidéo. This way on the show floor. New features. On fait la queue. Ça va, y a personne. On n'est pas en période de vacances scolaires. Wouah, putain la vache. Craqué, dev. Enfin, le dev. Exclusive. Le bouton qui dit le nom du joueur qui est en train de jouer au jeu. Hear your name in the game. Quoi? C'est vrai? Je veux tester.
What do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Bouton trop gros, bouton trop petit. Bouton juste parfait. Du coup, ça va dire Tipyx. Ah, ces gens qui laissent traîner leur laptop là.
Jim. Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim.
Ah, je suis déçu.
In the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature.
Ok. Je suis Jim.
I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind,
je m'appelle Jim.
And simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim.
Bonjour, je suis Jim.
Waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim.
Faut que je dise à Tita que désormais elle m'appelle Jim.
Possibilities as Jim and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust.
Salut Vigraf.
Do you feel it deeply? Are you really truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Du coup, le bouton qui dit le nom du joueur qui joue au jeu. Vous croyez que ça va dire Jim? Non. Mais non, mais comment ils ont fait?
What a thrill, what a rush. That was you. The button described you. Do it again, do it again.
Oh la vache, c'est ouf. C'est quoi, c'est avec de l'IA? Genre ça a pris mon nom et tout, mais... Oh putain.
It hits
Mais c'est-
even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still
Ah
be
bah
worth
ouais
the
c'est clair.
money. Let's take a break from the gym button. I'm too emotionally drained from
Bah
all
ça a
of
dit
this
mon nom.
personal validation.
Regarde écoute.
Whoa there, cowboy.
T'as vu
Sometimes
ça
a
dit
person
Jim
can be too much
quand j'appuie sur le
Jim.
bouton.
I'm putting the gym button away.
Le jeu a un
Otherwise,
bouton
soon
qui dit
you'll
mon nom
start
quoi
to lose
maintenant.
all sense of who you actually are.
Ah, ah bah... Ah bah, il est tombé le bouton. Il s'est fait absorber par le sol. Bon. J'ai pas tout compris.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2.
Oh, il y a un petit
That
2.
would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
Ah, the button va say James. Ah, ça disait pas mon nom. Attendez, je suis quoi là? Qui suis-je? Comment je m'appelle le chat? Je sais plus.
An
Épilogue.
epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Paramètres champion du monde. Trou sans fond. Succès gratuit. On va aller voir. Bon bah tant pis. Ah, moi j'aime bien les achievements. Je veux un achievement gratuit. Tirez le levier, recevez votre achievement. Pas plus d'étapes. Ah oui, des achievements.
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that.
Chromatos. Vous êtes prêts? Petit achievement là? En bas à droite?
Okay,
What?
perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully
no!
broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Je veux mon achievement! Bon allez, refund. Non, ça marche pas. Je vais mettre une review négative, voilà.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Trou sans fond. Allez, vas-y. Please no screenshot. Deux.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
Ah là.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Get Well Someday it is.
Ok. Il y a un ballon coincé.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
Oui. Ouais, on en a parlé tout à l'heure. On l'a vu dans le musée, dans le jeu. D'ailleurs, je crois que je vais pouvoir le récupérer.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I am happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution.
Mais quoi?
Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The
Il a un
glow
air flippant, hein.
of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Bah écoute, je vais me trimballer avec mon seau. Hein.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Nouvelles fonctionnalités, nouveaux contenus, nouvelles idées. Un screenshot. Quoi? Ça faisait très longtemps que j'avais pas entendu ça. Ah ouais, non, mais on a tous pris, on a tous pris un coup de vieux là. Waouh. Ah, des collectables. Très bien. Can you find them? Collect them all. Oula.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Oui bah ça va, moi j'aime bien les collectables. « 1 sur 6 ». Putain, j'ai bugué, j'étais là, pourquoi il y a la tête de Macron au fond?
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely.
Oui bah moi j'aime bien. J'adore les collectatons. Quoi? D'accord, ok, à l'infini, oui, ok. Quoi? Pourquoi pas?
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Ah, je vais pas y aller, hein. Ah merde!
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then,
Je peux me déplacer.
since you've gotten to see the infinite
J'ai du air control.
zone, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things.
Le trou devient vraiment de plus en plus petit, hein, on est d'accord. Hein.
Okay, Stanley. I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated
Et
the
ces petits
infinite
comment
nature of the hole.
mon curseur.
Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a...
Oh.
Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out.
You mug.
I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated.
Je te avec mon seau à caca là.
Said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
Meeting at 2 p.m. Ah, 2. Just the two of us. We can make it do we try. Sans mais les paroles de la chanson quoi. C'est trop aigu pour moi par contre. Every pause button is a Roman numeral 2. Ils ont eu un délire sur le chiffre 2 quoi. Just the two of us. Ah, il y a des clopes ici. C'est pas un cendrier géant. Bon bah let's go alors.
Great. Now, I'm very excited. Oh, for heaven's sake. You see, I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much.
Oui, j'avoue, j'aime trop les trous.
Would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of...
Ah.
Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter?
C'était moins profond ce coup-ci.
I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before.
Oh, les sous-entendus, j'en peux plus.
I didn't make an infinite hole. I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Plus je le prends et plus il est
I'm
court.
starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite.
Est-ce que je peux boucher le trou à
I
force?
suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability and marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter. Well, there it is.
Oula!
The shame of my lie has come to haunt me. Not only is the hole not infinite, but it's barely even a hole.
Oh, ça reste un trou.
It's more of a concavity.
Un enfoncement un peu péchu. Ah, j'aime bien.
How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch.
J'adore les trous.
Who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on.
Ah.
Is the teleport button not working?
Putain.
Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation.
Je peux pas sauter, hein, évidemment.
Try it again. Still nothing.
Je peux pas sauter, donc ça, on a supprimé l'option. Ah putain.
There is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of it.
Mais reviens! Bon, bah... Donc là-bas, je ferai mes popos dans le seau, et ensuite, hop, je jetterai là-bas. Quoi? Pourquoi il y a une musique qui fait peur? J'ai peur. Ah. D'accord, bah écoute. Allons-y, hein. Ah. Je sais pas jusqu'où on va, mais on y va, hein. Le trou de l'infini. Oh la gueule. Est-ce que c'est la tête du dev? Mode perspective. J'aime bien cette musique. Change votre réalité. Ah, j'aime pas les voix distordues. Quoi? Ah, j'aime bien, très bien. Ça n'a aucun sens. Mais pourquoi? Bon bah... C'est l'instant petit chien. Oh punaise. Mais regardez-moi comme ça, ils sont trop mignons. Oh, attends, on va juste changer la musique. Un truc qui fit bien avec l'image. Il n'y a que de la musique flippante. J'ai l'impression que c'est de pire en pire. Bon. Changez qui vous êtes. Mais quoi? Attends. Mais... Pourquoi? Parfait. Alors là... Parfait. Ah. Quelle horreur. Mince. Oh, il est stylé comme ça.
Stanley? Stanley? Stanley?
Oui?
It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland.
Ah.
But we can't have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really, truly focused on the hole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodlepip.
Ah, oula, quoi?
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
3, 4, 44. Ok. Ah, moi je vais avoir mon trou. Mostly infinite all. Fine, it ended. Évidemment qu'on va retourner voir le trou. C'est un trou. Oh non! Bande de vilains. Est-ce que ce serait pas le moment pour arrêter la première VOD? Je pense que de toute façon le jeu, on va le faire en 2 fois. Du coup... Merci, je suis tout assis sur ma chaise. YouTube. Merci YouTube d'avoir suivi cette première VOD de The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe Edition, qui en fait est peut-être le 2, on sait pas. Voilà, c'est bien le chat. Dites au revoir à YouTube, vous êtes des gens bien polis. Voilà, des bisous et à bientôt pour la suite.